So, Mary Ellen, tell us a little bit about this building, how it came about, what's the history here?
Okay, this was the first building that was built, which was commonly used as their chapel. As you can see by looking around, that was an altar up there at one time.
I'm sorry to interrupt, whose chapel?
Good. It was Spalding College.
Okay.
It was built by order of the Pope because this area was settled by a lot of Catholics. So it was built to be a men's Catholic seminary and college. The settlers that we had here were mostly from Ireland, England, and Scotland, of that descent, and they had been removed from the motherland because of religious beliefs, and they came to the United States, and they settled in Maryland, of course, in Pennsylvania and around Ohio, and with them they brought their whiskey recipes. And they were called whiskey farmers. So after the Revolutionary War, our country was broke, and the first thing we did was decide to tax the whiskey farmers. And they were a little upset because that's what we fought the war over, the unfair one of the reasons, the unfair taxes. So they had a little thing called the Whiskey Rebellion. And the great forefathers of Kentucky said, listen, you all come to us, we will not tax you, we're a new state and we need people. So they came down the Ohio, and as they got off is where they settled. So that kind of brought the Catholics and the whiskey farmers to this area.
And that's why Bardstown is now the world's bourbon
capital of the world, correct. And when they got here, they met up with the Indians, which the Indians were growing fields and fields of corn. And there were forests of white oak. So which was great because the whiskey barrels are made out of white oak.
Yes.
And you make your rye and your whiskey out of anything that ferments. So they use corn. Hence we got through generation and generation into bourbon, corn liquor into bourbon. And of course our water is all limestone bed, and that takes the nasty iron taste out and makes it all taste so good.
We just learned that at the Barton 1792 distillery earlier. So folks, we're here in the Oscar Getz Museum of Whiskey History. Did I pronounce that big long title correctly?
Correct.
Oscar Getz, you were telling me, has a connection to the very old Barton 1792 distillery now, also called Tom Moore back in the day.
Yes, Oscar Getz was a Chicago businessman who grew up during the Prohibition, very much interested in this industry, and as a young man he started collecting artifacts. This museum, I'd say 85% of the artifacts in here were his.
Okay.
And he was in Louisville at some kind of a equipment show, and he was talking to some friends about his interest in this industry, and they said, you know, you need to go to Bardstown. Shocked he had never been to Bardstown. He came out here and he was in utopia when he came out here.
Right, because you can just walk around in Bardstown and you can smell
just
the
breathe
bourbon
it, just
being
inhale,
made.
walk out the door. Several people in town say, smell that? That's prosperity.
Yeah, it smells good. It smells
you
like
get used to
a
it.
good yeasty oven or something.
You get used to it, yes.
Kind of like bread making.
Yes.
We're standing here in front of a portrait of this guy I recognize. He's kind of famous.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about Father Washington here, and what else is here?
George Washington, being our first president, had a still on his farm. In fact, almost every farmer did, because our water wasn't so good, it wasn't in a big supply either. And so whiskey was thought to be safe. Whiskey and wine, rye, whatever, was thought to be safe to drink, and for medicinal purposes also. Of course, it was an anesthetic for years too. So that and biting the bullet, I guess. I don't know.
So you begin here in the Whiskey Museum with the beginning of whiskey making in this country.
Correct.
And then the museum basically tells a chronological story of whiskey history in the United States. Stick around, folks. More Go Local is coming up. So, Mary Ellen, when we were at the Barton Distillery recently, we saw a very tall column still. I think it was 5 stories tall. This still's a little bit smaller. Tell us a little bit about what we're looking at here.
Shorter people. No, this came from Mount Vernon, I would say in the early 80s. The 1980s.
Yes.
This museum was contacted by some people at Mount Vernon saying they weren't interested in this anymore. Would we be?
Wow.
And of course, the two ladies rode right up there that were running the museum then and picked it up. And it was held by some descendants of George Washington's slaves. And they say that this was in his distillery at one time.
So a good possibility here that
George has touched this. Yes.
Potbelly copper pot still was working at George Washington's farm
Yes.
at some point.
Yes.
And it is very, very small and cute. And
Yes, yes.
I like the ring of it. What else do we have here in this part that shows all the stuff?
To the right of me, we have legal stills. Over here in this corner, we have a moonshine still set up. And
I see.
various pictures of stills that were confiscated by the federal government in Kentucky and Virginia.
This looks like an illegal still.
Absolutely,
right?
that's what it
You
is.
can see
Yes.
how it's all
Yes.
kind of
Yes.
burned up and everything from its time out in the woods, probably. Probably from having wood fires on it.
Absolutely, absolutely. And not to mention where they got their water from, probably the same creek that a cow was standing in.
Well, you know. once you heat that stuff up high enough, I guess it kills off some of
guess so.
that stuff. You were just explaining that to me earlier,
yes,
right?
It's purely medicinal by that. Yes, yes.
You know, the language here is so fascinating. It may serve...
You can't even understand what they're saying.
I mean, listen to this. It may serve to aid the officers to be informed that the first of the classes of the proof mentioned in the law corresponds with gin, the second with St. Croix rum, the third with Antigua rum, the fourth with Jamaica spirits, the fifth with the usual strength of high wines, the sixth or last with what is called alcohol.
So flowing, so many adjectives.
So verbose, I would say. Get to the point.
Absolutely, absolutely.
We got James Monroe's signature here, John Quincy Adams' signature here. Adams says as Secretary of State, Monroe is the president, and the year is 1822. Fascinating.
What is this?
This is, well, let's see. A receipt signifying a desire of obtaining an exclusive property. It's legal. It's a liquor license. It's legalese, right? Yeah.
Yes.
So this is a liquor license. Stick around, folks. You don't want to miss what comes up next. We're standing here before all these really cool old whiskey bottles and decanters.
Crocks.
What are we looking at here?
We're looking at this. We're in the history of bottles, the different shapes, the styles, the sideboard bottles that were used in quote the Wild Wild West. They didn't have liquor in bottles. They sent you liquor in barrels. So it was in the back room, and you needed something nice to scoop it in to keep it on display. And that's why these were made. And of course, they plugged their names and had the names on it of the different kind of liquor you were drinking.
Do you know why they have the different shapes?
I think it was just purely what they designed, what
Just
they wanted.
aesthetics.
Yes.
It didn't have anything to do with the.
That's right. It was so creative, and all the different designs. It was when it was truly a craft.
Yes.
The craft of bottle making. Yes.
It's amazing. We're looking here at an I.W. Harper decanter that's, you probably take the hat off and you pour out of the head
Correct.
of these fancy dress guys. I was in Japan when I was young, and I was 21 years old, and I was traveling in rural Japan, and this young Japanese guy comes up to me. I'm pushing my motorcycle down the road that had died on me, and he says, "Where are you from?" And it surprised me. I didn't expect anybody to speak English to me. And I said, "I'm from Kentucky," not expecting him to know where that was. And he said, "Kentucky!" And he got really excited. And he started naming bourbons to me. He said, "Wild Tucky!" And then he said, I.W. Harper. Yes.
Oh my goodness.
1991. Oh, granddad, he said. And he said, "You go Derby?" And I said, "No, I've never been to the Derby." And he went, "Oh." Why? Why no Dobby? Since you're so close.
Oh, isn't that
But
something?
the point being, I see I.W. Harper now, and it's a liquor I never see around.
You can't.
And yet here's
It's
this guy
gone.
in rural
Yeah.
Japan who
That
knew
sees
Kentucky
it.
because of that.
Because he sees it. He can buy it. He can drink it. We can't.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. So this is really cool. In this exhibit of old bottles, I found one that I really like. It's called Green River Whiskey. I live 3 miles from Green River. I'm fond of it. The advertising cracks me up. It says, "The whiskey without a headache, a pure whiskey for medicinal use. It blots out all your troubles." So Green River Whiskey, folks, first I've seen of it. Comes out of Nelson County, or the Nelson Distilling Company. That's cool. So, Mary Ellen, you've been a great hostess. Thank you very much for showing us around the History Museum and also the Whiskey Museum here. It's a great place. Cheers to
And
you
we enjoyed it.
to
Thank you.
Bardstown.
Thank you
very
for coming
much.
to see us.